Do you want to know how to teach a child kindness and empathy? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about creating children who care. In this video, we're going to be talking about why kindness and empathy are important for children to learn, and then how you can go about teaching those things to your children. Let's talk a little bit about kindness. Of course, we want our children to grow up being kind and caring of other people. Did you know the word kind comes from the root kin? So when you are kind to somebody, you actually are treating them like kin. Kin means family. So when you are kind to someone, you're treating them like family. That means that you give people the benefit of the doubt. You don't harshly judge them. Now, I know some people might be thinking, but in my family, that's actually where the worst behavior happens. That's where people need to practice the most kindness. We do have a problem with families nowadays. In fact, that's why I stay so busy with all of this work that I'm doing to try to help people, because families are struggling. There's a lot of dysfunction, and there are a lot of people thinking that family is where you display your worst behavior, when historically, characteristically, it was with family that you always gave your best self. And that's what it means to be kind. So if we want our children to practice kindness with each other, where do you think they are going to learn that? You guessed it, from the family. Empathy basically means that you care about what another person is experiencing, what they might be feeling, what they might be thinking. You take a moment when you stop thinking about yourself and you start to put yourself in the other person's shoes. When a person has true empathy, the other person that's experiencing a problem at the time knows that that person is right there with them, that they understand at least a little bit, or that they want to understand, and that they are there for them. We all need that. Life is hard. Childhood is hard. Mistakes happen. So our children learning to be empathetic and caring of other people is going to help the world be a better place. But not only that, when you practice empathy and caring for other people, you're a happier person too. And of course, we want our child to be happy, right? So that means that we need to teach them how to care about the happiness of other people too. Having kindness and empathy are both signs of good practical intelligence. So there are different types of intelligence. There is intellectual intelligence, there's emotional intelligence, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and then there's practical intelligence. Practical intelligence is where you have an understanding of how people work around you, of the practical way that people interact with each other, and how to move things forward. People generally who are very motivated, who have great capacities, who accomplish a lot of hard tasks, usually have a high level of practical intelligence. In fact, it's the people with practical intelligence who usually keep the relationships intact. They move the business world forward. They actually have a lot of power in their communities. Of course, we want our children to have practical intelligence, right? Then they can be the next Steve Jobs. They can be the next person who is providing a healing component in their environment. When you have practical intelligence, you usually have good relationships. Relationships are hard to develop unless you care about other people. People can just feel if you are trying to establish relationships with them purely for a selfish reason. When a person has that feeling of caring or empathy, another person knows it. And so then they want to bond to that other person. And it is those bonds that create all the synergistic relationships in our society. And they truly help us. So ultimately, when we're talking about kindness and empathy and teaching those things to our children, that is where we are going. And if you have been following this channel for a while now, you know that everything about teaching self-government and what I teach about has to do with strengthening relationships, in particular the family relationships. And as we already mentioned with kindness, the whole idea is to get the family in the right place so that we can teach our children how they should treat the other people around them like family too. So how do we teach kindness and empathy to our children? That's an important thing for us to understand. Number one thing that we need to remember is the way that we behave to our family in a family setting when nobody else is watching is going to be the number one predictor of whether your child will learn kindness and empathy. Do you have empathy? Do you have kindness? Now, do not confuse kindness and empathy with coddling and babying, because those things are not the same. You don't have to coddle your child or baby your child to show that you care and understand your child and that you want the best for them. Sometimes teaching them, correcting them is the kindest thing that you can do. And it doesn't ever have to be done with anger. It can be done with love, compassion, connection, and understanding. Corrections show empathy and caring for another person when they are needed. When you are taking into account who that person is, what is their role? What is your role in their life? Well, usually if you're the parent, your role is teacher. I actually have an entire book all about roles, and it's called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. And in that book, I talk about how if the roles are not in the right place, then that actually creates dysfunction in the family. Keeping the roles in the right place is what creates function. When your family is functioning in all of their communications, the children should be able to take corrections, no answers, criticisms, instructions. They should be able to discuss openly, honestly with you, and all of it should feel safe, comfortable, and understood. It's the roles that are at the foundation of all of that good communication. So keep in mind as you are having interactions with your child that you do need to maintain your role. Parents that go to coddling are usually parents who want to go to now babying, and that is not the role of parenting. You can't make another person's problem go away simply by being emotional with them, which is what coddling does. Empathy is different. Empathy shows you're there, you care. You're going to provide a strength and a support, though, at the same time if you're a good parent. So example is the number one thing that you can do to help your child learn empathy and kindness. Make sure you display it yourself with them, but also with other people that come into your life, because they're always watching. But what else can you do? Well, there are multiple things that you can also do besides setting a good example. So one thing that shows that you care about other people and brings the child into the caring is by having a culture of service in your family. Does your family serve each other? Does your family serve other people, other families, other people in your community around you? If so, your child has a higher chance of developing empathy and kindness for those around them. Now, when you are talking to your child and you're correcting your child, do you actually express that correction starting with empathy? That can make a big difference of whether your child learns to be empathetic in their thoughts as well. When I start a correction, I usually start by saying something like, I know right now you are trying to get things done as quickly as possible, and I really appreciate your focus on trying to get things done quickly. However, I noticed that this is what happened. Right? So then I'm going to start with describing what goes on with the correction. And if you've been following this channel and you're subscribed to it, you know I tell a lot about corrections on this channel. So I'm not going to go into all of those steps here. Just that first little bit. Show empathy when you're correcting your children. And when you're praising them too. Why not? Another thing that you can do to show your child empathy is to listen to them more. When they are talking with you, when they're disagreeing appropriately with you, that's a skill we talk about on this channel, then listen. Really pay attention. Look at their eyes. Focus in. When you are listening to your child, that actually shows that you care. That teaches them what good communication is like. If you want them to listen and care to each other as siblings or with friends, neighbors, other people, they've got to see it from you too. Giving to other people and sharing with other people, of course, are great ways to show kindness and empathy or caring as well. So make sure your children get the opportunity to give up their last cookie for somebody else, to sacrifice a toy for something. Give away to other people as often as possible. Try to think of nice things that you can do to surprise other people. Don't focus as a family on what you get out of situations and holidays. Don't shower them with too many presents. Instead, teach them the beautiful characteristic of giving. Another thing that you can do to teach your children to care about others is to know a lot of different people. If your children only know people who are their same age and of their same socioeconomic background, their view of the world is too limited, and their chances of becoming judgmental, biased, or not feeling comfortable talking to other people go way, way up. Make sure that your children get an opportunity to know all kinds of people, different religions, nationalities, who live in different places, who live in different ways, who speak different ways. We all have so much to teach each other, and learning and growing from each other actually is a way to grow our empathy and kindness generally as well. Now, this one may surprise you. Prayer. When you pray with your children for other people, when you kneel in prayer and pray for your child in front of them, that shows them how much you care. That you would go to a higher power, that you would go to God in their behalf, that you would, even when they are not with you, be thinking about them. It proves it. It proves how much family members should care about each other. Now, maybe you're not a praying family. Well, then express gratitude a lot, because that is the next best thing. If you maybe were raised in a praying family and you haven't been doing it for a while, maybe you want to revisit that. Start a relationship with God again. Start talking to God about your children and being grateful for them to Him. And then start showing your children that you do it. Teach them to talk to Him too. And then you will be able to show each other in new ways how much you care. Plus, the spiritual benefits are great. I'm so glad that our family was a praying family. I have talked about quite a few things in this video. I've talked about roles. I've talked about a few skills like correcting behaviors, disagreeing appropriately. There is so much more. And if you want an overview of some of the teaching self-government skills and principles that you can use for increasing the bond and strengthening relationships in your family, but also calmly and lovingly correcting your children, then I think you'll probably want to watch one of the full-length classes that's here on this channel. It's called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. So click on the link to that video now and find out more about self-government so that your family can thrive.